Very good morning. Today we are going to see little more about robot mechanics. Till last class we have seen what is manipulator, what is manipulation, and what are the basic entity we should know for robot mechanics. And we were talking about what is degree of manipulability, degree of freedom, and we have actually seen what is these two are, how it is interrelated with the manipulator, and we have seen what are the types of manipulator. And this particular session or this particular class we would be moving little further than the last class what we have started, like robot kinematics. We were given a difference between what is forward and inverse. Any of you would be seeing that in detail little more later part, but today we are going to see the, you can say, basic description and how the rotation matrix comes and what is the benefit of that and how the transformation matrix would be evolved. That is what the overall flow. So in that sense you can see that the disclaimer all the time I am putting it. Okay, so let us actually move further. These are the contents which we are going to cover here. So we will start what is actually transformation matrix in detail. That is what our more focus in this particular session. So for that we need to know spatial description. The spatial description will come from position and orientation. Then we will see how those things would be done in you can say mechanics, and then we will see how the two frames, or you can say robotic manipulator would be consist of multiple bodies. So in the sense each body would be associated with at least one frame. Then mapping between different frames should be known, so that's why we have taken mapping between two frames. So then we will move then why we required a transformation matrix and what are the operators we can do it. So this is the way we are actually going across in this particular session. So I already told the spatial description and transformations are actually one of the important aspect. But before actually talking that detail, so to manipulate mechanical quantity, definitely actually you need to represent the position and orientation, but how you will define. So you need to have some reference or some kind of coordinate system. So then only you can actually develop convention for representation. So in that sense, what we are going to use one of the important coordinate system. So there are several like a polar, spherical, inertial, and you can say Cartesian, and we would be using the Cartesian coordinate system. That is what we are actually going to use throughout this course. So that is what we are actually taking it. So then what would be the problem or what would be the challenge for us? For example, the point P, which is actually known with respect to the frame B, but B in the sense this is a body frame. So we are trying to see how this point B can be represented in the ground frame. Okay. So now we need to know the relation between actually ground to body frame. Then we can see that the point which is actually known with respect to B, that can be easily transferred to the G. In the sense a transformation can be easily done. Just to give a little more clarity, so I'll just assume that. So I'm assuming that there is a car. Okay. The car is having a flag in the front. Okay, so now you can see that from the car driver this flag host always known, right? So we assume that this is what your coordinate system, so which is actually fixed on the driver's seat, and from the driver's seat this point what you call the P vector would be known. But now I assume that this is actually you can say need to be represented with respect to one of the building which is actually fixed. The top of the building I am associating one frame called G. So I need to know this point P with respect to G. So now what we can see, we can easily see what is the, you can say, relation between G to the body frame B. Then you always know B to P is actually constant or fixed. So in the sense this P point will not be changed with respect to, you can say, body. So now this body can actually move anywhere in the ground or anywhere in the you can say plane, or you can say in the you can say land, but this G point will not be moving. So that is what the whole idea. So what we can see that, so we want to know the information of P with respect to G. This is what we wanted, but what we know, this is known, and we will actually try to map this relation. Okay. So the G to B or B to G, this relation we will announce. So this is what the bigger question. So what we can actually say that how to get the relationship between frame G and B. So in order to get the position vector P with respect to G or B, if one of the relation is known to us. So this is what we are actually like going to talk. This particular aspect, what we are going to call as a transformation. We'll see how this is actually like achieved in the long, you can say, end. So in that sense, we can actually like start describing the position vector or start describing the position and orientation. We'll start with the description of you can say Q, which is one of the point. So one of the assumption throughout what we are actually like going to assume till we move to a detailed kinematic model. So we'll assume that the manipulator or the robot has sufficient number of joints in such a way that whatever we are actually like looking, that would be actually like maintained. What that mean? So in such a way that the hand or arm, in the sense the end effector could be oriented arbitrarily while keeping the fingertip or tool at same position in space. So in the sense what we can actually see that the point Q is actually like given. But with respect to what? Some reference should be given, right? So right now what I am saying that there is a frame which is A which is coming here. So I already told that we are going to use a Cartesian coordinate frame. So this frame A would be associated with the coordinate frame, and this coordinate frame would be associated with the 3 unit vectors along x, y, z. So which I am writing as x cap, y cap and z cap. The A denotes the A frame. So now it is actually like very simple task, because this is actually like we can directly write as a position vector where I can write position of Q with respect to A. So in the sense whatever I am writing in the bottom of the letter, or you can say you call subscript. So the subscript that to like before the letter that denotes that. So in the sense position vector of Q with respect to A, whatever I am putting on the superscript, that is actually like what you call actually like a reference. So now the frame A is the reference and the point Q is the interest. The position vector of Q with respect to A I can write in a simple vector form. What vector form? I can write that as x, y and z. So this is what the description of position, that's what we call it's a position vector. So that's what we are actually like writing it. So whatever I am writing in the bottom, that is actually like related to that in the sense. So here position vector of Q with respect to A, that is what the definition we are going to use throughout this course. Okay, so now this is actually like straightforward. We can see that the position vector we can write in terms of you can say 3 individual scalar quantity we call qx, qy and qz. So the scalar quantity can be further given as a direction, then this is the overall vector which we are bothering. Okay, so now you can see that this is very simple task, right? However, when we move to the further case, what further case we are assuming that the frame A, the sense. So now there is a body which is actually like in the space. So now this body is actually like associated with some frame. Okay, but what I wanted, this body which is actually like in the 3-dimensional space, that I need to define with respect to ground. Then what happened? So I have ground actually like another body. Okay, I'll just make it further just to give a little more clarity. So I'll assume that this is the body. Okay, I'm just showing in the 2D case, and this is the ground. Okay, so now this body is actually like orient. You can see this is the, I assume that the x body and y body, and this is the ground, x ground and y ground. So I can easily actually like relate it if it is only position vector, but now it is orientation, right? So now you can see that case, you can say frame would be associated with unit vectors. Then what one can think about it, that's what we are also like thinking at. What that we will come back that later. Right now I am defining the A is the frame that would be associated with one of the coordinate frame which is having x cap, y cap, z cap. And now what I am assuming that there is a body which is actually like oriented with respect to A. So that particular you can say body orientation I am writing in another frame called B. So that is what I am writing. Then that body frame would be actually like having a coordinate frame in this way. So now you can see that XA and XB are not parallel. YA, YB is not parallel. ZA and ZB also not parallel. So now I need to define the orientation of B with respect to A or orientation of A with respect to B So either way I have to make. So orientation of B with respect to A or orientation of A with respect to B. Since we are actually like always taking A as the reference, so what we are interested to find the orientation. So the orientation of B, so with respect to A is my interest. So how I will get? So definitely this cannot be done in a single you can say 3 cross 1 vector what we have done as a position, right? So definitely this is not possible in this particular case. So then what we can do? So we can actually like try to give some kind of you can say matrix format where there are actually like consists of actually like 3 orientation vectors. So that is what we are going to see in detail. But now just to give a little more you can say insight on this, so I'm actually like taking a planar case. So in the sense what I'm saying that the A frame would be look like this. Just to give, I have just shrunken the letter size. So now I am assuming that the body B is coming. So how it is actually like done is, so XA and XB are parallel. I just want to give in a planar case. And about XB, so the YB and ZB are actually like rotated apart, in the sense oriented apart, just for giving that. So in the sense phi is the angle, so you can see YB is actually like with respect to YA it is actually like a phi angle orientation, and similarly ZA to ZB is actually like orient with respect to phi angle. So now what one can think about it, so what we can actually think about it, if I project this XB on XA, so what I will get, that would be the unit vector, because unit vector project on another unit vector which is parallel. So then it would give 1. Okay, so I'm just doing it XB, I'm projecting on A frame. So the A frame would be having 3 cases. So what, this is XA cap, then YA cap and ZA cap. So now if I actually like project XB, what happened, this become 1. This is actually like a parallel to XA. So obviously there is no projection which happening in YA and ZA. So in the sense what I'm going to get, this is one of the, you can say unit vector projection which I will get it. So this is what I call orientation vector of XB cap on A frame. The similar way I can actually like project the YB vector on, you can say XB or XA. So I'll just do it YB vector projected on A frame. So then you can see X, there is no projection. So Y, there is a direction of cosine projection. So then this is cos, so phi, and the Z axis it is actually like projected on you can say in this case, so it is actually like sine phi. Okay, the projection is 90 minus phi, so then that would be sine. So now you can see that what you are getting is, so 1 you got it 1 0 0 as a projection vector of you can say XB on A frame. Then what you got 0 cos phi sine phi as the another projection vector. So similar direction I am projecting you can say ZB. So ZB vector projected on A frame, then that would be giving definitely 0 in X, because that is on in the YZ plane. So definitely there is no projection would be happening in X. So then you can see that this would be you can see here this is 90 plus phi. So then that would be minus sine phi. Then this would be cos phi. So then you can see that there is another, you can say orientation vector which is actually like coming like this. Okay, so now what you can actually like see, okay, so there is actually like 3 you can say unit vector projections on this particular frame that I am calling as a coordinate you can say orientation vectors. So in the sense if I enhouse these all 3 orientation vector, so what I will get a matrix. That matrix I am going to call as rotation matrix. So we'll see little more definition on this, but I'm just giving a simple example with respect to a planar case. So now this is what I'm going to call as a rotation matrix. So we'll come back with the general case. What the general case says that the rotation matrix is actually like unit vector projection of all 3. So you have seen that XB projected on frame A, so then YB unit vector projected on A, and Z you can say B unit vector projected on A. So this is what the whole idea. So now this projection vectors will give orientation vectors, so which is actually like 3 cross 1 with the 3 quantities that all n-hours that would be giving one of the important tool called rotation matrix. So we'll go little more. So here also the assumption is same. So we assume that all available axes are available. You can say all axes are available for this. So in the sense we will or you can say we will come across one of the detailed definition. The rotation matrix is dot product of two unit vectors yield the cosine of the angle between them. So then what you will get, the rotation matrix components all are actually like referred as a direction cosines. So that is what some of the textbook would be given. The rotation matrix is actually like consists of you can say direction cosines. Obviously that is what we have also done, but here you have to be very clear. The xb projected on a frame, yb projected on a frame, and zb projected on a frame. Then you will get, you can say 3 quantities each. Okay, so this is what you call 3 individual orientation vector. That n-hours what you got, that is what you call rotation matrix. Okay, so now this is what I'm going to write in detail. So what we are doing is xb projected on xa, xb projected on ya, xb projected on za. So this is going to be take part. So similarly yb projected on a, xa, ya, za, like that you can see. So now this is what you call rotation matrix. So now based on that what you can see is, so this is actually like a projection of unit vectors. So obviously this orientation vector would be orthonormal vectors. So obviously this whole matrix would be orthogonal matrix. So orthonormal vectors are going to give orthogonal matrix. Further, this all actually like orthogonal matrix consists of orthonormal unit vectors. So in the sense what you will get, the determinant would be 1. So because of determinant 1, what one can easily get, you can say benefit of this. So the inverse of this particular matrix would be just a transpose, right? So this is what we are actually getting. So what would be the inverse? So the RA with respect to B. So this is what we call as inverse. This would be a simple a transpose of this. Okay, so this is what we are actually like writing, and how this happened because of this property. Okay, the determinant of this rotation matrix would be unity. Okay, so this is what we are actually like saying here, and we'll move further why this rotation matrix is important here. So the rotation matrix can be used as you can say coordinate transformation matrix, and it can be used further with several you can say benefit. But what it is doing is actually like it is doing the very simple aspect. It is mapping between one frame to another frame with its own orientation information. Okay, so in that sense what one can easily see, so we can actually like see that it would be used for mapping. The mapping simply we call coordinate transformation, where mapping and relating two different coordinates of a given point can be achieved. That is what we can actually see. In a very simple sense, it represents a coordinate transformation, mapping and relating the coordinates of a given point in two different frames. So then what additional benefit you will get? So you will actually like even get a description of the frame. So if the frame is actually like only orient across, then you can give a description as a simple you can say rotation matrix. So that is what here it is given. It gives the orientation of the transformed coordinate frame with respect to another coordinate frame. That is what we usually like take it. So further what the benefit, it can be used as operator in this particular robotics course, or you can say robotic community. The rotation matrix used widely as one of the important operator. Okay, so what that mean? So the operator taking a vector and rotating it to a new vector. That is what we are actually like seeing. But this operator can be used several other modes. That's what we are going to see. So in that sense, what we are actually like coming in a bigger picture, we are trying to see what is mapping. So mapping is nothing but mathematical relation such that each element of a given set is associated with another, you can say, element set. So already I told the robot kinematics is one such. So where mapping between coordinate frame which is associated with the joint space and task space, right? So this is what we have seen. If you know the joint space, so you know joint space and you are interested in to find the task space, this is what we call forward kinematics. This is one of the mapping. Okay, So similarly, you know task space and you are actually like interested in joint space, then this is also another mapping. So this mapping we call inverse kinematics, right? So but what are the mapping we are going to do here? So we are going to map two different frames. So then how that two different frames can be associated, either it would be purely translated or rotated, or it is happening general body motion. What that mean? The mapping between the translated and rotated frames. So for example, I have a ball, or you can say I have a cube. The cube I am actually like rotating it. So from the ground, this rotated cube would be different orientation with respect to the initial. So now you can see it is translated and as well as rotated, right? So but if you are taking a simple, you call a pendulum kind of thing, then the rotation only happening, or you take a simple linear joint, then it would be just a translation. Okay, so it need not to be only linear joint, it can be even anything, but it is only pure translation. Then we will see how that would be happening here. So for taking that, we are taking as usual two different frames. One frame we are associating as a fixed frame, which is A. So that frame A would be associated with a set of coordinate system, or you can say set of unit vector associated with a coordinate system. So now what we are saying that it is moving, or you can say it is just a translated frame. So then the point, you can say B, which is another frame which is also associated with unit vectors. So now you can see these two are translated apart. Now what the benefit here, for example, I already explained the car and the flag host problem. So now you can see that if I point a point P, or you can say the Q point, so now the PQ is actually like known with respect to B. Can I actually like get it this with respect to A? So this is one of the bigger question, right? So can I do it? So that is what here it is addressed. Now I see that the point Q has come. So somehow I know the information of Q with respect to B, and I know that you can say I can find the point Q with respect to A if I know the, you can say, the information about these two, right? So what would be here the information? This is just, you can say, different positions. Indirectly it is just translated apart. So what information you want? You want the position vector of B with respect to A, right? That's all. So now if we want to have the Q with respect to A, that is just a summation of these two position vectors, right? So that is what we are actually like seeing. This is what my interest. So how I am achieving it? If I know this translation information, so it is simple vector addition, right? So that is what we are actually like doing it. So this is what mapping involving translated frame. The same way we will actually like go across the rotated frame. So you can see that the A frame is, which is always actually like taken a reference, I assume as a fixed one. So now I am taking a body B. So now this is actually like oriented apart. So this is the coordinate, you can say, frame. So now I know the Q with respect to B somehow. Okay. Sorry, this is actually like supposed to be B. So this information I want. So what I'm actually like seeing it. So if I know this point with respect to, you can say, B, can I find this? Okay. So if that is the case, what you wanted, so here the orientation information is known, then we can actually just multiply this. Okay. So this is what we have done earlier. For example, you take from here, I'm just saying that from here, this coordinate frame is actually like 4, and this is actually like giving 3 with respect to X and Y, but this is actually like oriented probably 45 degree. So what you can see, like this is, so cos 45 minus sin 45, all those things, then you will say this is you can see 4, 3 and 0. So this will give that information, right? So we'll see this all detail in later on, but right now you can see how this mapping is done, right? So now if this is the case, how this is going further, if translated and as well as rotation happen, you can see, so now you can see rotation also happened and translation also happened. So then this is actually like a general frame. So then what would be the case? So you can see that, so this information is known and this information is known, and RBA also known and PBA also known. I can easily find it, right? So this is what we are actually like interested, and we are actually like got this equation. Okay. But now you can see that this particular equation, what you are seeing is, it is actually like happening a heterogeneous case. What that means, so you have one multiplication and you have, you can say, one addition, right? So you will be actually like transform this into, you can see a case with respect to B, and then you are actually like adding it, right? So in the sense you are actually like doing it some kind of two-stage process. Can I actually like make it as a one stage? So for this, what I'm actually like trying to give an example, although the example is probably look like a foolish one or like a childish one, but this example definitely hold it. So what that mean? So if I actually like go into the class would be having girl students and, you can say, boy student. But if I call gender wise, you can see that it is heterogeneous, right? But if I just call as a student, you see, although it is a heterogeneous system as a girls and boys, but you can see the student is actually like homogeneous. The same way, can I actually like make one such homogeneous system here? So what that mean? So I don't want to actually like do addition and multiplication as a separate one. Can I actually like use it as a single entity where these all would be in-house? So why this is important? For example, I am seeing that one of the institute is giving information. So the information is very general. Okay. So I don't want to actually like segregate that this information belongs to girls, this information belongs to boys. I don't want. If I have a common gender called student, the student to student would be easily interacted. Okay. The information easily passed. But further, no, these are actually like information supposed to go to the girl student. Then you can see that within the institute, I have to reach to only the girl student to pass the information. The same, you can say, heterogeneous and homogeneity we are trying to address. So that is what we are bringing one such system called transformation matrix. The transformation matrix is nothing but an operator. This maps one frame to another frame in a matrix form. So definitely what the benefit here we are thinking about, instead of having a two different segment, in the sense two different compartment, these two compartment I am putting in one single box, and this box I am assuming as a simple compact form. So in the sense, if I want to actually like stack probably multiple body, I just put these boxes one to another. So whenever somebody wanted to know the detailed information, they can take this box and go inside what is there. That is easy, right? So in the sense, what I am trying to see, I am trying to make a compact box form. So in the sense, I have n bodies, I just wanted to have n transformation matrix. That is what my interest. So if that is the case, what one can easily see, this is not easily happening. Why? This P, you can say BA is actually 3 cross 1 and RAB is actually like 3 cross 3. I cannot actually like combine this into a single entity as simple. So then what one can see, can I actually like increase the dimension? So what that mean? Can I actually like go beyond this 3 cross 1 or 3 cross 3? So one easiest way, can I in-house these all inside? So what happened? I have one box which is having 3 cross 3, the other box is having 3 cross 1. I cannot have this actually like 3 you can say cross 4. This is not like a proper unique box, right? It is a rectangular, and you know, like matrix is actually like rectangular, it won't actually like looks good. So then what I can see, I can give a dummy thing which is actually like 1 cross 3 and another dummy thing which is actually like 1 cross 1. Now it is actually like giving 4 cross 4. So which is actually like a box, which is actually like box in terms of matrix. So what I can actually see, I need to see what I need to put it here and what I need to put it here. So in the sense, the position vector, what earlier it was 3 cross 1, but now it is actually like transform into a 4 cross 1. So definitely the fourth element should be a justified one. So one of the easiest one, what I can do a scaling one. For example, the position I can measure in terms of pixels, in terms of, you can say, inches, in terms of meter, but I want to make a consistency as a SI unit. So then the pixel would be converted into meter, inches would be converted into meter, the meter would be just multiply with 1 as a meter. So then what I can bring, so the X, Y, Z coordinate, and I am adding as a scaling factor. So I am done with the position vector. What I can do with the rotation matrix? Because the rotation matrix bottom is actually like 1 cross 3. So that I can actually see this is also like valid, because whenever I am seeing in terms of actually like orientation, the orientation is with respect to a view. So if I actually like see in an orthogonal view, so the orientation vector would be whatever I'm seeing it as it. But if I am actually seeing in a, you can say, perspective way what our eyes is doing, so then you can see that there is a perspective happening, right? So what angle I am actually seeing, based on that, the, you can see the orientation is going to differ. So in that sense, I can actually like bring the perspective vector here, that would be based on the, you can say, projection angle. So then I am done already. So what that means, I am actually like combining these two unit operators. So unique operator, one is addition, then the multiplication I am bringing it as a single entity called transformation matrix. Then this is actually like 4 cross 1. This is, you can say, I actually like supposed to see this is 3 cross 1, this is 3 cross 3 into 3 cross 1, but now I am making it as 4 cross 1 into 4 cross 4. Then this is supposed to be 4 cross 1. So hereafter I will not be using this, I will be using this alone. Okay. So then how that has happened? So what we are doing is we are bringing the homogeneity in the sense, so girls and boys become students. So similarly the addition and multiplication indirectly you call description of position of two frames, okay, and orientation of two frame. I am actually like making it a single entity called homogeneous transformation matrix. So what that, the frame information B with respect to A, so it would be consist of two things. One is orientation, other one is position vector. So these two I am combining, I am calling as a transformation. Okay. So this is what we are actually like doing it. So in the sense, what happened, so you cannot actually like make n component position vector, you would be doing n plus 1 component vector. So here the n is 3 because we are using Cartesian coordinate system and we are using a 3-dimensional space, that is the real. So then you can see 4 is the component vector. So in that sense we have done. So this is the rotation matrix, this is the, you can say, position vector, which we already got it. In addition to that, we are adding a scaling factor and we are giving a perspective vector. Okay. So now further actually like we can actually like see, so we can actually like see further what we can do. This can be easily decomposed into two segments. One is actually like translation component, other one is rotation component. But if you are thinking about the orientation you can say rotation matrix and you can say translation matrix, then you have to multiply this way, then what we have derived as the transformation matrix will come. But if you are doing this, this is another kind of transformation matrix. I call this is T star. This is not described in the earlier case. Okay. So this is what you should supposed to know. In that sense, what happened, the decomposition of transformation is possible, but that is not interchangeable. So with that, we are actually like going little further. You can see that this transformation matrix is giving additional benefit. So the additional benefit is actually like coming into two different segments. One is actually like you can see, so you have a frame A, B, C and the information of P, or you can say information of point Q, you know, with respect to C. Can I actually get it with other two frames? So in the sense, can I actually like get it the P or you can say position vector of Q in terms of A? Definitely that can be done. So how that can be done? So you need a transformation matrix like this. Okay, so this transformation matrix is not directly obtainable, but what we can see, so the transformation matrix of A to, you can say, B with respect to A, transformation matrix of C with respect to B can be obtained. Then I can actually like see this can be achieved, right? So this is what we are doing it, in the sense what we are doing it. So you have one compartment, another compartment, this compartment is TBA and this is TBC. So now this compartment comprise as T, you can say C of A. Okay. So this is what we are actually like doing it. So what in the sense, so you have a single box, which is actually like as a two sub box. The single box is TCA, but these two sub box will have, you can say TBA and T, you can say BC. Okay. So that is what we are doing it, in the sense you can see that if I actually like multiply these two in a, you can see, progressive way, in the sense post multiplication, what I will get as the transformation matrix of C with respect to A. So like that you can go n number of frame and you can get it. So in the sense what you can see, this is what we are getting as the compound transformation as one of the operator, and this is the idea what you are actually like getting it. So now you can see that this is what we are actually like obtained as simple case. So in the sense the orientation matrix is simple multiplication, but the position vector is actually like first you orient to that particular, you can see the frame, then you add it. So what in this case, so you know the orientation matrix of B and you know the information of C with respect to B, then you are actually like making it into a frame. So in the sense the B would cancel, then what happened, this is simple, so PAC, right? So this is what we are actually like trying to get. So that is what we are actually like trying to see. So this way we can actually like go further and we can actually like get it. Okay, so I hope this is okay, this is supposed to be right. So you know the information of actually like C with respect to A, and you know the orientation matrix of, you can say, C with respect to B. So this is actually like done in the other way around. Then you are getting into the original case what we have actually like written. Okay, this is what the case. So indirectly what happened here, actually like there is another rotation matrix. Okay, so what that means, there is another rotation matrix will come. So this you can write as, so BC, and you can see that this is Q with respect to, you can say C. So that is what we are actually like indirectly giving. But here actually like you see this information is known with respect to here, but I want to actually like get it from here. Okay, so this is what we are actually trying to do. So in that sense you will be transfer this into this particular frame, and you know this, so you are actually like adding this. That's what we are actually like doing it. Okay, so now we'll move further. So what we can see that, can I get that matrix inverse? Yes, you can do it. So what is matrix inverse? So here the transformation matrix A, B is known. What is our interest? Our interest is actually like B to A can be obtainable. So that we can write as AB inverse. So that is what I have written. So but what we know as a property, so this multiplication of A into, you can say, transformation matrix of B with respect to A, and inverse of transformation matrix of B with respect to A, this multiplication will give the identity matrix, right? So now if I actually like take this as a sub matrix as like this form where X and Y are unknown, so what we can actually like see, so usually we assume that orthogonal projection and all the unit are in the same, you can say, domain, in the sense the scaling factor is 1, then this is what the case. So then what you can see, like you can actually like cross multiply this supposed to be, you can see this into this multiplication supposed to be equal to identity matrix, and this multiply with this supposed to be 0 vector, right? So in the sense this X and Y can be easily obtainable, and that is what you are writing it as here. Okay, so in the sense you can see that rotation matrix of A, B, okay, and identity matrix of 3 cross 3, okay, then this is actually like going to be 0. This would be, you can say, simply what you can see, so this is X, and this would be I cross 3, right? So then X would be simply this inverse. That inverse is actually like is what you call transpose, right? So this is what we have actually like obtained. Similar way you can see that RABX plus you can say PAB, sorry, Y. So this is actually like 1. Okay, so we are actually like giving it that is 0. So in the sense you can see that this is Y. So I'll rewrite here so that you can be very clear. So I'll just clear all. So what we are actually like writing it, so this RAB multiply with Y plus, so PAB is equal to 0, which is, so 3 cross 1 vector. So but what we are actually like interested Y, then that would be minus PAB, and you have inverse, right? So this is what we are getting, and this is what we have obtained. So with that you can see that the transformation matrix also like done the transformation matrix used for two things. One is compound transformation, the other one is matrix inverse, and we have actually like obtained both. So with that, I'm actually like ending here, where the transformation matrix is described here, and we will see more detail about this transformation matrix and all other aspect in the next class. And please give your actually like queries to me through email, and then we will actually discuss over the live session in the afternoon. Okay, see you then. You can see like meet in the afternoon session. Bye, take care.